Welcome back to our channel Asma English. Today, we bring you a brand new cinematic story filled with mystery, danger, and breathtaking twists. Our adventure follows Liana, a young woman who receives a mysterious letter that pulls her into a strange world of spirals, ancient secrets, and a brother she believed lost forever. Across silent harbors, storm-bound islands, glowing caves, and shadowy creatures known as the Watchers, Liana and Adrian uncover a truth far greater and far darker than anything they imagined. Get ready for an emotional, thrilling journey through portals, ancient symbols, and a battle to stop a power that could change the world. This is The Shadow Voyage. Chapter 1: The Silent Harbor. The harbor lay under a blanket of silver fog, its old wooden planks creaking like bones settling after a long sleep. Liana stepped off the lonely ferry, her boots echoing against the empty dock. She clutched the mysterious letter that had summoned her here. No name, no sender, only a single line written in a trembling hand: "If you want the truth, come alone." Her breath curled into the cold air as she looked around. Every lamp post flickered faintly, painting the mist with trembling halos. The silence was so deep it felt unnatural, almost rehearsed, as though something waited for her arrival. A feeling, sharp and instinctive, pressed against her ribs. She was being watched. The lighthouse at the end of the pier loomed like a frozen guardian. Its windows were dark, its door slightly ajar, moving with each gust of wind like it was breathing. She approached, her pulse tightening. Then, a low horn echoed across the water, 3 short blasts. The same signal her brother used when they were kids sailing small boats along the coast. It hit her heart like a stone. She spun toward the sound, but the sea was empty. No boats. No figures. Nothing. Her fingers shook as she pushed the lighthouse door. It groaned open, revealing dust dancing in a beam of moonlight. The air smelled of salt and abandonment. Just as she stepped inside, the door slammed shut behind her with violent force. A whisper drifted across the room, thin, distant, almost human. "You came, just like he hoped." Liana froze. The letter, the horn, the voice, none of this was random. Someone wanted her here. And whoever it was, knew about her brother. Chapter 2: The Map of Echoes. The lighthouse interior looked like time had given up on it. Cobwebs hung like torn curtains, and shattered lanterns littered the floor. But on the central table lay something untouched by dust, a tightly rolled parchment bound with a leather strap. Her fingers brushed it, and a static tingle ran up her arm. When she unrolled it, her breath caught. It was a map yet unlike any she had ever seen. The islands were drawn with spiraling lines instead of borders, and as she stared longer, the ink seemed to shimmer, shifting as though adjusting itself to her presence. One symbol stood out, a glowing spiral etched in soft blue light. The more she looked, the louder a faint ringing grew in her ears. The spiral pulsed like a heartbeat. When she touched it, a sudden gust exploded through the lighthouse. The shutters slammed open, wind swirling violently around her. The parchment fluttered but didn't blow away, as if rooted by invisible hands. A disembodied voice rose through the stormy airmail, strained, familiar in a way that made Liana's heart twist. "Follow the spiral. He's counting on you." She staggered back, clutching the map. She whispered. "Adrian?" Her brother had vanished 5 years ago, lost at sea, declared dead, mourned by everyone except her. Liana had never believed he was gone. She had felt it deep inside, an unbroken thread pulling at her with every passing year. Now that thread tugged sharply. She grabbed an old lantern, lit its dim wick, and tucked the map into her backpack. Outside, the fog thinned slightly, revealing a faint trail of footprints leading away from the lighthouse. Fresh prints. Not hers. Someone else had been here moments before. Someone who didn't want to be seen. Clutching the lantern, Liana followed the trail into the night, the map burning faintly through her bag like a secret calling for release. Chapter 3: The Hidden Compass. The footprints led Liana along the shoreline toward an abandoned fisherman's shack, its roof sagging under years of storms. A rusty sign hung crookedly above the door, squeaking as the wind nudged it back and forth. She pushed inside cautiously, the lantern illuminating dust motes spiraling through the air. The shack smelled of old nets and forgotten memories. But something else caught her attention. The wooden floorboards bore etched markings. Spirals. Dozens of them, carved with obsessive precision, filling nearly every plank. Her heartbeat quickened. Adrian used to carve the same spiral symbols into driftwood when they were children. It was his way of calming his restless mind. Seeing them again felt like hearing his voice. She knelt and traced her fingers along one of the carvings. The wood shifted beneath her touch. One board was loose. She pried it up, revealing a hidden metal box wrapped in a weathered cloth. Inside was a small golden compass. But unlike any compass she had ever seen, its needle spun erratically, then abruptly locked onto a direction far beyond the horizon. The moment her skin touched the metal, a surge of warmth pulsed through her palm. The needle glowed faintly, responding to her presence. Then she heard movement outside. A crunch of gravel. She extinguished her lantern and crouched behind a table, peering through a gap in the wall. A shadow moved among the rocks, tall and slow, as though searching for something or someone. The figure paused, turning its head slightly as if sensing her breath. Liana bit her lip, controlling her trembling. After a long silence, the figure vanished into the fog, walking in the same direction the compass pointed. Liana tightened her grip on the compass. She wasn't the only one following the spiral trail. Someone else was racing toward the same truth, and they were ahead of her. Chapter 4: The Stormbound Isle. With dawn breaking, Liana rented a small weather-beaten boat from a remote marina. The old fisherman who handed her the keys gave her a troubled look as she mentioned her heading. "No one sails there willingly," he warned. Strange lights. Strange voices. But Liana had no choice. The compass needle pointed straight across the churning sea toward a distant island that didn't appear on any modern map. Waves smacked the sides of the boat as she ventured farther from shore. Dark clouds rolled above her like a gathering army, each rumble of thunder sounding closer than the last. The wind whipped her hair across her face, and she struggled to keep the small craft on course. Still, the compass glowed brighter, pulsing like a guide through the chaos. Hours passed before the island emerged, a jagged silhouette rising from the stormy waters. Its cliffs were black and sharp, resembling the teeth of some ancient sea creature. As she approached, the sky grew unnaturally still. The waves parted slightly, almost as if the island itself recognized her. She jumped onto the rocky shore, her boots splashing into cold tide pools. A sudden flash of lightning illuminated something carved into the stone. Adrian Archer. Her breath caught. Fresh carving. Maybe weeks old. A mix of dread and hope surged inside her. She touched the initials, feeling the grooves beneath her fingertips. Before she could take another step, the ground trembled, and a distant howl echoed from within the cliffs, a sound too distorted to be fully human. Clutching the compass, Liana moved toward a narrow path leading deeper into the island. Whatever awaited inside had been waiting a long time. And now, it knew she had arrived. Chapter 5: The Watchers of the Cave. The narrow path curved along the cliffside until it reached a dark opening carved into the rock. The cave's mouth breathed out a cold draft that smelled of minerals and something older than time. Liana lifted her lantern and stepped inside, the light scattering across towering crystal formations that glimmered in shades of blue. Each crystal hummed faintly, as though whispering a song too ancient to understand. As she walked deeper, she noticed drawings etched along the cave walls, figures standing beneath swirling spiral symbols, their eyes hollow, their hands raised toward the sky. The style was familiar, strangely similar to the carvings in the fisherman's shack. Then a faint whisper echoed behind her. She spun, raising the lantern. Shadows shifted near the entrance, tall silhouettes, moving in complete silence. Their outlines flickered like smoke. Her pulse thundered. She backed away slowly, but more figures emerged, blocking the exit. Their heads tilted in eerie unison, eyes glowing with faint silver light. "The chosen has arrived," one murmured, its voice layered with echoes. Liana stepped farther into the cavern, gripping the compass. The shadows didn't pursue but followed her with synchronized steps, as if guiding her rather than attacking. A deeper sound resonated from the far end, metallic chains rattling. A voice, strained, hoarse, unmistakably familiar, broke through the darkness. "Liana, don't be afraid." Her knees weakened. "Adrian?" She ran toward the sound, ignoring the watchers trailing behind her. The cave widened into a vast chamber, crystals forming a radiant dome overhead. At its center stood a tall pillar of shimmering stone, and chained to it, thin, bruised, but alive, was her brother. His eyes met hers, filled with relief and warning. "You shouldn't have come," he whispered. "They've been waiting for you." Chapter 6: The Return of Adrian. Liana rushed to her brother's side, barely believing he was real. Adrian's wrists were bound by glowing restraints that crackled with pale energy, pulsing in rhythm with the crystals above. He looked older, his face sharper, but his eyes still carried the same spark she remembered. "What happened to you?" she breathed, trying to break the chains. "They brought me here," he said, voice trembling. "The Watchers. They aren't spirits or illusions, they're guardians of the spiral gate." Liana glanced back at the silent figures who lingered at the chamber's edge, watching with unblinking eyes. "Why you? Why us?" Adrian inhaled shakily. "Our family, we carry something they need. The spiral isn't just a symbol, it's a key. A bloodline key. Only we can open the gate they're protecting." He lifted his chin toward a massive stone archway at the far end of the chamber. Its surface shimmered with swirling symbols, glowing brighter as Liana approached. "They tried to make me open it," Adrian continued, "but I wasn't strong enough alone. They knew you would come." Liana clenched her fists. "I won't let them use us." Suddenly, the ground trembled. A chorus of metallic whispers rose from the watchers. Their eyes grew brighter. "It's starting," Adrian warned. "The gate reacts when both of us are near." Liana stepped beside him. The compass in her pocket vibrated wildly, then leapt out, drawn by the pillar's energy. A surge of light connected the compass to the archway, spiraling upward in beams of shimmering blue. "Liana," Adrian whispered, "if they open that gate, the world outside will never survive what comes through." Before she could respond, the restraints shattered, releasing Adrian in a burst of light. The watchers began moving toward them, slow, unified, unstoppable. "We have one chance," Adrian said. "Together." Chapter 7: The Spiral Awakens. The archway burst with swirling light, its spirals spiraling outward like a vortex of stars. Wind roared through the chamber, lifting dust and shards of crystal into the air. The watchers moved closer, chanting in a haunting, layered tone that vibrated through Liana's bones. Adrian grabbed her hand. "The compass is the activator. With both of us here, it's enough to open the full gate." The compass floated before the arch, spinning rapidly. Each rotation unleashed another wave of energy, widening the portal forming within the stone. Beyond the swirling mist, Liana glimpsed shapes, massive, distorted, shifting like shadows attempting to take form. "We need to stop it," she shouted. Adrian nodded. "But the only way is to overload the compass." Liana reached toward the device, her fingers brushing its surface. It felt alive, vibrating like a pulsing heart. The watchers lunged forward, their movements fluid yet desperate. "They want the portal open," Adrian yelled over the roar. "They've waited centuries." Summoning every ounce of courage, Liana grabbed the compass with both hands. It burned her palms, light searing through her fingers. Adrian placed his hands over hers, steadying her. "Together," he whispered. A final surge of energy erupted. Light exploded outward, shattering crystals, hurling the watchers backward. The arch cracked from top to base, the portal flickering wildly before collapsing in on itself with a deafening implosion. The compass shattered in Liana's hands, fragments dissolving into dust. The chamber fell silent. Only echoes remained. Adrian sank to his knees, breathless. "You did it," he murmured. But Liana's gaze hardened. "Not yet," she said softly. "If this was one gate, there may be others." Adrian nodded, fear and determination blending in his eyes. The spiral had awakened. And so had their mission. Chapter 8: Dawn over the ruins. The storm outside had cleared. Soft morning light spilled into the cave through cracks created by the collapse. Liana and Adrian climbed back toward the surface, the cool air a relief after the suffocating energy below. When they stepped out, the island felt transformed. The sky stretched wide and golden, waves sparkling gently as if unaware of the nightmare hidden beneath their surface. Adrian sat on a boulder, staring at the horizon. 5 years, he murmured. I thought I'd never see the sky again. Liana placed a hand on his shoulder. You're safe now. It's over. But Adrian shook his head. No. What we destroyed wasn't the spiral gate. It was just one entrance. There are more scattered across the world. The Watchers serve something far greater. Liana looked at the compass shards in her palm, now dull and harmless. Even broken, they still felt warm. We stop them, she said firmly. We stop all of them. Adrian gave a faint smile. You always were the brave one. They gathered supplies from the boat, planning their next steps. Before leaving, Liana carved a small spiral into the rock, not as a symbol of fear, but of defiance. As they pushed the boat into the gentle waves, light shimmered on the water. The world seemed calm again, but Liana knew peace was only temporary. The spirals were waking. And she and Adrian were the only ones who understood what was coming. The journey ahead would be long, dangerous, and filled with shadows. But for the first time in years, they faced it together. As the boat drifted toward the open sea, Liana looked at her brother and whispered, "This is just the beginning." And that brings us to the end of the shadow voyage. Throughout this journey, we followed Liana from the silent harbor all the way to the mysterious storm-bound island where she finally discovered the truth about her missing brother, Adrian. We explored hidden caves glowing with ancient crystals, encountered the eerie Watchers, and witnessed the awakening of the Spiral Gate, an ancient power capable of reshaping worlds. Together, Liana and Adrian destroyed the gate's activation and escaped the island at dawn, but their mission has only just begun, as more spirals may still be scattered across the world. Thank you so much for watching this story till the end. Your support means everything. If you enjoyed this adventure, don't forget to let us know in the comments. Here are 5 questions for you. Which chapter was your favorite and why? Do you think the Watchers were evil or just following their purpose? Should Liana and Adrian continue searching for the remaining spiral gates? What moment in the story surprised you the most? Do you want a part 2 or a new story in the same universe? Share your answers below in the comments. I'm excited to read them. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who loves mysterious adventures. Every bit of support helps us create more stories just like this. Thank you for being here, and until the next journey, stay curious, stay brave, and see you in the next story.